Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 16 of the English to Takeaway podcast. My name is Richard, also known as the Grammar Goat on social media. I'm an English language teacher and I'm a content creator. I am absolutely delighted to introduce my co host, Jordan.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, my name is Jordan. I am also an English language teacher, as well as a content creator. And you may have seen some of my posts through the English Lingo or English Lingo with Jordan social media handles. We're creeping up on the 20 episode mark where we get into that top 1%. We're not there yet, but we're near. We're very near, Richard.
It won't be long, will it? In a month's time, we'll be
Yes.
there, which we should mark it. We should celebrate it by doing something special, I think, on the 20th
Yes.
episode. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. I think that would be good. But yeah, it's quite an interesting milestone, isn't it? That we can look forward to, or we can try and, as we said previously, pencil in something for us to actually um, check off of our bucket list in a way of what we want to achieve on this podcast. So um, yeah, it's really interesting to have that goal in our sights now, which is I'm looking forward to reaching it.
Absolutely, yeah, totally agree. Jordan, what have you been up to this week, by the way?
So nothing much in terms of things that we're doing, but my mum arrived on Thursday, and unfortunately, it was a mammoth trip for her. I felt really sorry because of just the time that it took for her to get here was incredible. You don't realize how long the journey is until you start talking about it and hearing what she experienced. So yeah, a very long trip she had, but yeah, she's here now, so it's fun. It's great to entertain guests again and see family, of course.
Oh, lovely. So you say it was a long trip, like a long trip to get from, was it from the UK to the Philippines that she travelled?
That's right, from specifically Gatwick. So, if people are familiar in London, there are two airports that are used probably maybe the most frequently, which are Heathrow is the biggest. You've also got Gatwick as well. Yes, you've got Stansted and Luton and a few others, but probably Gatwick and Heathrow are the two big ones, right?
Yeah, so did she have delays with her aeroplane, or did she have stopovers in other places to get to the Philippines?
So what they have to do now is my dad did it also, but they have to go from Gatwick or Heathrow, either one, fly to Dubai, and then from Dubai to Manila, and then of course internal flight Manila to here, which is in Dumaguete area. So three flights and probably over 24 hours in total, I think.
Oh wow. Is there a quicker way to do it, or is that literally the quickest way to get to you then? There's no
I
direct flights from the UK to Manila.
I believe that's the only way at the moment. There used to be, and I think the unfortunate circumstance of having the conflict between Ukraine and Russia um, disrupted the route that they usually took. So I think that's one of the reasons why there is no um, direct flight anymore. So yeah, that's basically the quickest way.
Wow, so yeah, your mum must have been exhausted when she arrived, and I guess with the time difference as well and the jet lag, it's
Yeah.
probably taken her a few days to recover, right?
Yeah, she's been. she's been relatively okay. I think probably similar to your experience in Korea. Like she's waking up a little bit early, so she's waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then trying to drift off back to sleep again. But it's a little bit difficult, of course. But yeah, I think that's probably where she's at. Not too bad, nothing too too crazy. But yeah, the jet lag gets you, of course, as
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
sure. Yeah. Oh. So, are you repeating the same itinerary as you did with your dad, with your mum, in terms of places that you're visiting, or are you going to do things a bit differently with your mum?
I think we're going to do a few things which were the same. Probably a couple of things um, that we did with my dad, we'll probably do with my mum. However, we will probably look into doing some other things that we didn't do with my dad, because the beauty of this, living where we live is there are a lot of people who travel around, and they give you like information about certain places. And since my dad left in those 3 weeks, we've had a couple of people say, "Oh, you should go to this place, or you should check out this place." And oh, okay, now we will, because we have somebody else coming to stay with us. And yeah, we didn't know that before, so yeah, we'll probably do a couple of things that are new for us as well, which will be good.
So, do you mean like it's like neighbours that live nearby that have given you tourist tips and things?
Absolutely, yeah, like
Oh, great.
neighbors or people who live in the area. They've traveled up towards the north end of the island, so they know of places that we can go. And perhaps they're familiar with having children as well. Like this place is good for kids. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you get a lot of information from people, actually.
Have you told your mum about the toilet paper situation?
Oh, you'll die laughing. So, I did exactly the same with my mum as I did with my dad. I forgot to tell her. I completely forgot. And like we were in the shopping mall the other day, and yeah, went to the toilet. She come out and exactly the same. She goes, "There's no toilet paper in there." I went, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." I don't I don't think about it. And yeah, I after speaking with you about it on the podcast, I was like, yeah, I definitely need to tell people about this. Straight out of my brain, like completely away with the fairies, and didn't think about it. So yeah, unfortunately, she had the same experience.
Oh, Jordan, how could you? That's
I know.
hilarious.
I
That's
think
brilliant.
I think probably because I've done it twice now. People probably think I'm playing a horrible prank on them, but I'm not. I'm genuinely forgetting about it. It's not. I don't mean to do it.
No, it must be a million when you've got guests as well, even if it's your mum, that you have a million things to think about, don't you? So,
Yeah.
toilet paper's probably not prioritized in your brain.
No.
I
No.
get,
Not.
I get it.
Not when it's you're. I suppose when, because I've lived here for over a year now. My subconscious doesn't really go into that kind of situation. I don't think about it at all. And I just it's a normal thing for me
Yeah.
to to experience. So yeah, I don't actually remember to tell people. So yeah, I definitely should do it.
I know what I was going to ask you as well. Like, obviously, having guests, you become a bit of a tourist as well, don't you? In the place that you live.
Yeah.
Um, have you discovered any restaurants or any nice places nearby to eat? And if so, like, what's your favorite restaurant that you've discovered nearby?
So we with my dad and also with my mum, we've got this place. It's called the Halfway Cafe, and it's up a mountain. It's kind of like halfway up a mountain, actually. And maybe some people might have seen my posts. Like, you can see overlooking the trees, and then in the far distance you can see the sea. It's beautiful. It's a lovely, lovely view, and yeah, it's not like there's nothing special about the food, the cuisine, or anything, but it's just the place. It's so chill. It's so relaxed. It's yeah, it's very breezy as well up there. So you're not stuck in like aircon or anything like that. It's like a natural breeze, and yeah, the atmosphere is wonderful. So I would say that's one of the one of the places that a lot of people really enjoy. Actually, they like it a lot.
Oh wow, what kind of food do they do there? What is a typical, Filipino dish?
Filipino grub.
Yeah, no, what is a typical, when you eat out, what is it that's always on the menu?
um, so the there's a lot of things that I could probably say, but adobo is one, which is their national dish, pork and chicken adobo. Um, but there's also another one, pancit, usually pancit canton, and that is noodles that they have. A lot of these are with pork as well. Pork's very popular here. Actually, it's very uh, kind of like a staple of their diet, as well as rice is too. But yeah, noodles is usually on the menu. The adobo, but in that particular restaurant, there are a variety of different things. You can get Belgian waffles, you can get fish and chips, you can get spaghetti. What else is there? Burgers, sandwiches. They do a whole variety of different foods. So yeah, it's quite a lot to choose from, to be honest.
Very cool. And how far is that from where you live? Can you drive there quite quickly?
Yeah, about 10 minutes, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
not too
amazing.
far. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I must admit, it's one of my favourite places to go. And last week, when we were supposed to be recording, I had a brownout, whereas it was a scheduled blackout, really. So we didn't have any power from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. About 7 o'clock it was later than expected, and we spent the whole day at that cafe.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so it was yeah, it was quite cool. It was quite nice for us to just sit there, enjoy the view. They got like a little play area for the kids, um so my daughter was you know happy as Larry and no problem at all. Yeah, it was good. It was really nice. So yeah, what have you been up to? How's your week been this week?
Yeah, so I'm just writing down happy as Larry because that is an expression I haven't heard for many years. That's one fantastic one. Brilliant. Yeah, no, I've been fine, thank you. I've been a little bit under the weather, had
Mm.
a bit of an ear infection, which yeah, you get from time to time, don't you? But apart from being a little bit under the weather, yeah, I've been good. Been doing lots of filming. I
Okay.
met up with another creator, Rahel, who
Ah,
is
yeah, yeah,
also
I know. Yeah.
he's also in our English language teaching niche on
Community.
social media community. Yeah, that's a great word. Yeah, so he's also in our community. He's a great guy, and he came down to visit me, and yeah, it was a very, very cold day that we were filming. So people probably don't realize when you're filming, but because you're standing around, you're not moving, you
Yeah,
can get really cold. So um,
absolutely.
we had a nice time filming outside. I filmed quite a cool video, a British English quiz,
Nice.
with some kind of British English slang, some language that's very sort of special and unique to British English. So yeah,
Cool.
I'm really pleased with that video. So yeah, apart from that, Jordan, nothing to write home about, I guess you could
Yeah,
say in English. Yeah,
there,
not
there we
nothing
go.
nothing special. The dog is still um, being really, really funny. Um, I thought that the training with the puppy was going really well, and then suddenly yesterday she decided to stop listening to me altogether. So it's like I've got a completely new puppy again because she's just stopped listening now for some reason. So that's been quite entertaining, chasing her around as she steals my slippers for the 20th time in 5 minutes. So, um,
Awesome. You need to break out the liver, as I mentioned to you.
yes,
You got to
I
break out the
do.
liver.
I forgot about the liver actually. Yeah, one thing that I did buy yesterday for my wife was and this is quite a cool word in English, a poop scoop.
Oh, wow. Okay. Right.
So this contraption, I to be honest, I before having a dog, I didn't even know that it existed. A poop scoop. It's quite the contraption. You know,
Mm.
it's this long thing that you hold, and there's a trigger on it, and the trigger opens up a little box to then scoop up the poop.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
bought one of those. That's how interesting my life is now, Jordan. You know, I'm telling you about poop scoops. Um,
Well, it beats kicking it, doesn't it? So, there we go.
true. Nice. Yeah.
For anyone anyone that's not listened to a previous podcast of ours, quite a few podcasts ago, there was an experience where some mess was kicked, let's say. So, yes, we want to avoid any of those situations. Indeed.
Absolutely. Thanks for revisiting that traumatic experience in my life.
There we go. Cool. And
Fine.
what was your story that you had for us this week? Do you have a new story that we can discuss?
Yeah, definitely. So you talked earlier about the toilet, the toilet paper situation with
Yeah,
your mum, and you said that it was almost like a prank, or it could be a prank, couldn't it?
yeah,
If someone visits you and you don't tell them that there isn't any toilet paper, and so you could call that a prank. So I saw what I thought was quite an interesting prank in the news, where it was in Scotland, and there was
yep,
a running race. It was a 10-kilometer running race, and one of the spectators, decided to dress as a race marshal. So I guess put a high vis jacket on and pretend to be one of the marshals, standing on the course, showing
yeah.
runners where to go, and sent about 30 runners the wrong way for about 2.5, 3 kilometers.
Oh
So these
wow,
poor runners had to run an extra sort of 2.5, 3 kilometers on during
wow.
the race. So I mean, it sounds quite funny on the
Yeah,
face of it,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And also, the race organizers were quite angry because the runners were taken away from the water stations, the first
Mm,
aid. Um,
yeah.
so and this kind of prank culture, I don't know on YouTube if you've ever seen these kind of prank videos.
Yeah,
My kids like watching them. It's kind of their generation, isn't it? Generation Z or Z.
yeah,
Um,
something like that. Yes, yeah,
those kind of prank videos. I
yeah,
don't get it. I don't really get it personally. But what's your
yeah.
reaction to that? To that?
Well, like as you said, on the face of it, it's quite comical, isn't it? Like sending somebody the wrong way, but then when you really sort of think about it a little bit more deeply and seriously, you're then thinking about the health and safety. You're thinking about what ifs as well. Like, what if this happens? Then we don't have the first aid people. So yeah, you've got to think about those type of things. And yeah, nowadays maybe the culture is a little bit different. It's like everything for the clicks, everything for the views, the likes, and things like that.
Mm.
So the more extreme, the more stupid it is, the more people are going to click on it and watch it and engage with it, perhaps. And yeah, it's gotten to a stage now where I think it's becoming a little bit out of control. Like, I think there's a YouTuber. He is often like walking around, and then one of his pranks is he's like pretending to be hench, and he knocks into someone. Usually, that person is of bigger stature than him, and probably a little bit more muscular and things. And then when they turn around to basically say, "What are you doing?" Like, exert their prowess again onto him. He gets his massive, humongous bodyguard to come in and deal with like what he started. And I don't see the funny side of that prank, so to speak. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's getting a little bit out of hand. Do you agree?
Totally, yeah. I think it's a generational thing as well. I think it's
Mm,
what younger people probably find funny, and maybe we don't. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That kind of weird prank. I personally I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
No,
But it,
I can't even
I,
call it a prank. I can't even call it a prank, really. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't feel that that's a prank. Really, it's not. It's yeah. I as you said it. I don't find it remotely funny at all. So
no, because you also you also get creators, or could you call them creators? I don't know. That kind of hurt each other on video, don't they? They kind of, again, it's not
yeah,
really pranks, but they sort of inflict pain on each other for the pleasure of the viewers, which again I just don't really get. I don't really get it. I don't really get why
yeah.
that's funny to watch. Do you know what I mean? The kind of videos, where
Like
they,
you're talking about like the old sort of like jackass type of.
well,
Um,
almost there's sort of a new generation of jackass sort of
okay, okay,
videos. I think of
right.
people doing that
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah, I've never really got that, to be honest.
yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I get again. I think maybe if I were younger, perhaps I might find it funny. But now I'm much older now, so yeah, I don't really resonate with that kind of stuff either. So
No, exactly. And
yeah,
I think this, going back to the original story, like I don't even think it was for a YouTube video. I just think it
really,
was, yeah, I think it was just a prank, just like an old
wow,
school prank.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that
Well,
that was my story that I found.
I think people, people do things just because they're bored sometimes as well, right? It's to cure boredom sometimes, and yeah, they kind of do these sort of silly things just to perhaps in a way entertain themselves, which yeah, it is kind of, again, it's a strange way to entertain yourself, but maybe that's probably the reason for it. But
Yeah, agree. Jordan, what
yeah.
what did you have this week? Did you find the story?
So mine was about um well, Valentine's Day, which was, of course, over or around about 10 days ago, nearly. But it's about the traditions in Japan that are slowly changing. And maybe people don't know this, but the traditions in Japan are very, very different to the traditions of Valentine's Day in other countries, I believe. And that sort of situation of having Valentine's Day, like the February the 14th, is for women to give men chocolates. That is the usual tradition in Japan. Like women will give men chocolates on February 14th. So
Nice.
that is very different from maybe America, what we experience in England. Yeah, it's a very, very different sort of tradition that they have. The reason for that is because on March 14th, next month, they have what is called White Day. So men must reciprocate this basically gift giving, and they will also give their wife, their girlfriend, usually chocolates or a present, something like that. Yeah, so they actually have 2 days where they exchange gifts. And the story was that this tradition is slowly starting to change, and more younger people are starting to become used to the Western way, and they're following more of a Western tradition. And yeah, it's becoming a little bit more westernized in the way in which Japanese people celebrate Valentine's Day. So yeah, the news story was all about how the tradition is slowly changing. But yeah, did you know about that tradition at all in Japan?
No, no, that's really interesting. So on the Valentine's Day, the woman, sorry, yeah, on the Valentine's Day, the man doesn't give anything to the woman. He just gets chocolate. Is that right? And then in March for the white, is it White Day? Did you say?
White Day, yes, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah. So White Day, it's just reversed. It's the other way
yes,
around. Oh,
yes,
really interesting. No, I'd never heard of that before.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
really interesting. It's a shame, I guess, in a way that it's changing.
Shall we get into the takeaway part where we can give back to the listeners what we have already said, and some interesting phrases that we've come across?
Okay, well, I've already kind of teased the first one that I'd like to talk about. So it was when you were talking about being in the halfway cafe with your family, and you were sitting with your wife, and your daughter was in the playground playing, and you said, "Oh, my daughter was in the playground as happy as Larry." So I don't know where this idiom comes from. I don't know where it originated from. I don't know who Larry is,
Yeah,
but as happy as Larry is a great expression. Just means when you're, I guess, content with life,
yeah,
happy with life, you can say, I'm as happy as Larry, or he
yeah,
or she or they are as happy as Larry. I haven't heard it for years, so I think it's, would you agree, like it's quite old fashioned, I guess, as happy as Larry, but it's lovely. Like I love it. I'm gonna
yeah.
start I'm gonna start saying it again, I think.
No, I think it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is quite old fashioned. Um, maybe, yeah, not. used as much anymore. So, but yeah, it's quite an interesting one to use, and it was the one that popped into my head that I could I use when I was talking about it. So
No,
yeah,
absolutely. I think probably, yeah, we'd probably say it when, yeah, when someone looks really happy, looks really content.
yeah,
Imagine me like on a deck chair on a serene, pristine beach with a cocktail and, an amazing, you could describe me as being as happy as Larry. I'm just totally chilled and content. I think it's a great expression, isn't it?
absolutely, yeah, awesome. And
All right.
I've got one that is, not necessarily um, similar in terms of being an idiom, but you mentioned a million things to think about. Yeah, sometimes we might say a million and one things to think about, but it just means like you have a lot on your mind. You have a lot of things that are you're having to try and work out. You're trying to understand, or you're trying to plan things. Um, so again, you could just say you have lots on your mind, but a million things to think about. It just expresses this in a very different way, and it just emphasizes it a little bit more. So, yeah, I love that phrase, a million things to think about.
Cool. I agree as well that we often say like 101 things or a million and one things as well, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, great you picked up on that. I didn't even realize I had said that. That's another one. So great that you picked up on that one, Jordan.
No problem.
All right. The next one from me is you were talking about your mum's trip from the UK to the Philippines. It was a really long trip, took her over 24 hours. So you used the word mammoth, a mammoth trip. So I guess here the word mammoth is an adjective to mean really, really long,
Yeah,
really, really big. So yeah,
absolutely.
great. I'm trying to think of another context you could use mammoth. I don't know. It's a great word to talk about a trip, isn't it? As you
I
as
think
you did.
a trip or anything that is time based, um,
Hmm.
like you could, we often use it when there's something sort of uh, like time involved, like we had a mammoth meeting yesterday, meaning that, for example, we had a 5 hour meeting discussing certain things. So generally when it's, yeah, when there's a lot of time involved, we can use it in that situation.
Perfect. Well, very very well explained. Thank you. Yeah, excellent.
The next one is, we kind of talked about this this one together, um, and we came up with it really, as we were talking about it. But again, the word grub for food. You were asking like, what kind of Filipino, and then I jokingly said grub. Can you get? Grub is a very casual way of saying food in British English. It's something that we casually put out there when we want to talk about food. So you can say, I'm going to get some grub, meaning I'm going to get some food, or something to eat. Yes. So that's a cool one as well.
Absolutely. Would you say it might come from the north as well? Northern England grub.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Grub, scran, uh, yeah, even tea as well, right? Tea comes from the north, which will confuse everybody because tea means a drink, but actually in the north, tea means, eating food.
Where do you stand on the word tar? Like as in tar for thank you. Do you say tar? Tar
Never.
very much? Tar?
No.
No,
No.
no. That's northern as well, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tar.
Tar very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never.
Yeah.
I never use it. No, I never use it.
I never use it, but when you mentioned the word grub, it just it made me think of the word tar as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, grub tar. Interesting. Okay. The next one from me. You were talking again about the halfway cafe and
Yep.
a couple of adjectives that you use to describe it. So it's got a relaxed atmosphere. So you said it's very chill,
Yep.
which I really liked as an adjective. So if a place is or a person is chill, it
Mm.
means they're very, very relaxed. And you also said breezy.
Mm.
Now, I kind of understand the adjective breezy as being used to describe a space that's very open.
Yes.
Um,
Mm.
so, very, very open air,
Yep.
um, and spacious. It's often used, I think, in the hospitality industry to describe a hotel lobby, say, or a restaurant.
Yeah. I agree.
Breezy.
Allowing the wind to flow through the space, basically. Yes. Yeah. Very, very good. The next
Great.
one is an idiom that you use to describe your feeling. You are under the weather, or you have been under the weather, which is a great idiom that I'm sure a lot of people have heard, but I wanted to highlight it because I think it's so useful. Really, really, really useful to use. Just to basically mean you haven't really been in sort of 100% good health. Maybe you've got a cold or a cough or something. You can say, I'm under the weather, or I have been under the weather. So, yeah, anytime you feel a little bit sick or a little bit ill, you can use under the weather as a good way to express that.
Yeah, I think the key there is a little bit, isn't it? It's got it's not a serious
No,
condition or illness. It's just something minor, something small.
absolutely. Yes, I agree. Indeed. Cool.
Great. Okay. I have got my next one is on the face of it.
Okay.
I think we
We
both
both.
used on the face of it,
Yes.
didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Was it what were we talking
Ah,
about the
pranks.
situation?
We
I
were
can't.
talking about pranks.
Yes, that's it. That's
Mm.
it. So, on the face of it, for me, kind of means at first sight, like when you first look at something,
Yes. Yeah,
um,
yeah,
on the face of it.
yeah. On the surface, like on the surface of things, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so you can see the surface, like the outer layer, and that's where we would say on the face of it. I think.
Yeah, it can be used, can't it? If you're talking about a situation in which you have a first impression and then maybe your idea or your impression changes the more you examine it or look at it. So
Mm.
you could say, on the face of it, the prank seemed very funny, but
Yeah.
the more I investigated it, I realized
Yeah.
it wasn't a good idea or it was more serious than I thought. So you can
Absolutely.
kind of contrast it, can't you, with that?
Mm.
So quite useful maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so as well. And my next one as well is another saying. And actually, I'm looking at my notes. I don't have any phrasal verbs today, which is interesting.
Shock.
I
Yeah, I
know.
don't either actually. Yeah.
Shock, shock, horror. What's happened? Um, from time to time, you use this, and again, it's just something that I think uses a really nice way of describing frequency of doing something, right? From time to time can just mean sometimes. But it's a different expression that people can use as a synonym for sometimes. And yeah, I like I like the synonyms, and expanding vocabulary and phrases. So I thought this was a great one for people to pick up on and try to use instead of saying sometimes. So yeah, I thought it was great. Very good.
Yeah, brilliant. Again, we're expanding vocabulary, aren't we? Expanding people's range of vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. Okay. So number 9, the last one from me. I just thought it was quite interesting. If I were younger, or if I was younger,
Yes.
because I think students are sometimes confused, aren't they? When they're listening to English and they hear someone say, "If I were younger, I would find the prank funny," or "If I was younger,
Mm,
I would find the prank funny." So basically, just to say that you can use both in English, can't you? You can say "if I was" or "if I were" when you're
yes.
talking about a hypothetical, unlikely situation.
Yeah. I think in spoken English we can definitely say that both are okay to use because native people chop and change between them. But again, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you really are doing like a very like grammatical test and somebody marking it is very to the book, then it would probably be better to use were
Yes.
instead of was, because of the grammatical side of things, right?
Yeah, agree. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, writing an English test, for example, an IELTS test, for example, use were.
Yeah,
But yeah, just another example of how English grammar rules can be relaxed sometimes, and how
yes,
in spoken English we often use was, don't we? Say if I was younger, I would.
yeah. Or if
So it's quite surprising.
another good example is if I was you, right?
Yes.
Again, in spoken English, a lot of native people, especially the younger generation, would use if I was you, I wouldn't
Yep.
choose that company or whatever. But yeah, if you're a stickler for grammar and you have to follow the grammatical rules, then if I were you is grammatically correct. But yeah, those rules are often relaxed when we're speaking, of course.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the last one from me is just a really, really good way of describing um, kind of like in a sense like a mechanical thing. So talking about your wonderful pooper scooper, you called it you called it a contraption, which is just a really, really cool way of describing something that you use. And usually a contraption is in some way mechanical, like it's got moving parts to it, or as Richard mentioned, it's got a trigger and then it opens it and then releases it and it closes. Like it's got some kind of movement to it that we use. But yeah, contraption was a great way to describe it.
It is a contraption. Honestly, I'll have to post a photo of it on my social media.
Yeah,
The pooper scooper. Um, do you want
fantastic.
me to shall I summarize,
Please,
Jordan?
yes.
Yeah. So we had happy as Larry, to be content with life, to be happy. That's probably my favorite one actually from the episode. Is happy as Larry. I think that's a fantastic expression. A million things to do, or a million and one things to do, or to think about. Mammoth, as you correctly said, often for time, a mammoth journey, a mammoth meeting, very long. Grub,
Hmm.
food. Chill and breezy for a restaurant or an outdoor space. Under the weather, a little bit ill. On the face of it,
Hmm.
sort of at first inspection or at first sight. From time to time,
Hmm.
meaning sometimes. If I were you, or if I was you, and contraption. There
Yes.
you go.
Lovely. What a very, mixed bag that we've got today. That was brilliant. Really, some
Yeah.
cool idioms in there with some really useful phrases as well. I really liked today's list because we picked out quite a lot of phrases that people can use, and yeah, I thought that the phrases are incredibly useful.
Absolutely. And, this is, again, a little bit of learner training, isn't it? But yeah, trying to get people who are learning English or any language really to try to learn language in chunks,
Yes,
in more than a single word at a time. Try to learn a phrase or a chunk of language, which really helps build your fluency, doesn't it, when you're speaking?
definitely.
So
Yeah,
important.
I agree 100%. If you can learn, most of the sort of the common phrases that they keep that structure, they don't change in any way. If you can learn those, then wow, your learning experience will be not only fun, but you'll probably quickly get ahead of yourself and start speaking a lot more fluently. So definitely agree with Richard. Learning in chunks is very important indeed. Yes. Fantastic.
Great.
Awesome. If you do want to contact us with any questions, news stories, or anything at all, you can email us. And the email address is English to take away pod at gmail.com. And of course, we will take on board anything that you send to us and discuss it in the podcast as well. So that's how you can contact us. Fantastic.
Great. Episode 16 in the bag, Jordan. Let's
It
move
is.
on to episode 17 next week. Looking forward to it already.
Absolutely. Me too. Awesome. Take care of yourself. See you soon.
All right. Cheers, Jordan. See you soon. Bye, mate.